I'm Kat.
I'm Hayley.
And this is Night Classy.
A tipsy night class teaching the oddities and curiosities you never learned in school.
Where are you taking us on this learning journey, Hayley?
We're going to be learning about the Baghdad battery and other battery-related things.
Like, it's an actual battery?
We don't know, and also probably not.
In this lesson, do we learn how batteries work?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Because this lesson started as me being like, what the heck are batteries and why do they work?
Batteries, how do they work? I do want to know that.
Well, we'll find out. We'll also talk about, we mentioned in a past episode, I remember talking about lasagna cell, like when lasagna can be turned into a battery.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, let me actually get the facts on that. So we're going to learn about that.
Okay.
And then we're going to learn about the Baghdad battery.
What made you do this lesson?
Because I didn't know what batteries... Well, I know what they are, but I don't really, because it's like, how do they make things work?
I didn't know what batteries.
Isn't that part of an Insane Clown Posse song? It's like, batteries, how do they work?
I have never actually listened to an
It's
Well,
the,
me
it's the
either.
SNL sketch of the Clown Posse.
Okay.
That is me in real life. No sketch about it. I mean,
Yeah.
do you know how batteries work?
No. It's
Right? It's
radioactive
such a weird
material
mystery.
inside, right?
I don't think
That combusts?
so. It is a
Okay.
chemical reaction. Long
Okay,
story short, chemical
yeah.
reaction.
All
I
right.
don't think it's radioactive.
I don't know.
It's not.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll learn
We'll
together.
learn more. What are you teaching us?
I have two short lessons that go together.
Okay.
And
I don't know if that's ever been done.
I don't think
Yeah,
so. It's like
it
a
has.
list of two.
No, I've done multiple two short lessons. I remember the drunk tank pink and the arsenic green.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
This is kind of like that. I have two floods, and in both of the floods, they are not water.
Oh no.
Do you want to guess the substances?
It's not molasses and it's not
one of them
beer.
is molasses. I think we've actually briefly touched on this molasses flood, but now I have a
Yeah.
full lesson on it.
I think it was a full lesson.
It might have been, but we're going to hear about it again if that's the case. And I have a second flood.
Kat,
What?
your foot is on the cameras.
Sorry, I can't help it. I'm going to keep doing it.
I don't think you've
Get her
ever
a
done it
stool.
until
Well, I'm
today.
going to do it now.
Yeah, you shouldn't have told her not to do
Yeah,
it.
she's kicking the cameras, you guys.
No, I'm not. I'm kicking the table leg, which is attached to the cameras.
Get it together.
Yeah, you're right, because I thought it seemed familiar, but I also thought, I think I did a lesson on the beer flood, and then that wasn't long enough, so I briefly mentioned the molasses flood. Now I have like 2 pages on the molasses flood. I don't think I covered it in that much depth.
I mean, I don't remember. I can't tell you anything
Yeah.
about it.
Listen, we're like 250 episodes in.
Guys, there's
it's bound to
only
happen.
So many topics in the world and time and space and history that we can find on the internet.
So true. And also, my second flood is one that I'm certain we haven't covered in any capacity.
Is it a urine flood?
No.
It's batteries.
God.
No, it's not batteries.
What are batteries?
How do they work? It's butter.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
Okay. Yeah, I'm into a
Yum.
butter flood.
Mhm.
I want the butter to flood into my mouth.
Mixed with garlic.
Oh my God.
And a little bit of parsley.
Where did
soaked
this
in
happen?
bread.
Oh, you're not talking about the actual flood.
No, but
Okay, so there's
I'm
no
talking about the
garlic.
flood of my dreams.
Yeah.
Your West Coast really came out there with parsley and
Parsley.
bread.
I just started a book called Word Slut, which is like a feminist analysis of the English language, and it's really validating my vocal fry and speech patterns.
You're so feminist.
I'm never gonna change, and
I don't think
anyone who
you should.
criticizes me hates women.
I don't think you can change. Women.
Women.
Wonderful. Well, I can't wait to hear about these floods.
Yeah.
Before we get started, we do want to mention that we're going to do a summer cocktail hour for our night classy listeners and for us. Let's be real. We miss you guys. We used to do cocktail hours every month. But we're doing one this month on June 21st. That is a Saturday. It will be at 7 p.m. Central.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to do it at 7 p.m. Central time.
It's the summer solstice, longest day of the year, shortest night.
Be there or be square.
Mm-hmm.
How do you get there? You join us over on patreon.com/nightclassy and join up for any level.
Yeah.
Join up.
Yeah,
We'll
all
be
tiers.
there.
All tiers get to come to the cocktail hour.
Mm-hmm.
We hang out. It's an hour long. Don't have to stay the whole time. You can stay the whole time. Oftentimes we go over the hour.
Yeah.
We just chat. We catch up about life and tell secrets.
The important message here is we're only friends with people who pay us. So if you want to be friends, give us money on Patreon and you can come hang out. It's a simple transaction.
And maybe since we're maybe thinking about doing them like quarterly so that they're more of an event, we could go back to doing recipes for each.
Oh, yeah.
one.
Drink
That would be
recipe.
fun.
And it's summer solstice. So we
Let's
can
do
come up with
sangria or
sangria
something.
sounds good. I spend a lot of time scrolling on Pinterest and have saved hundreds of cocktail recipes that I've never made. So this will maybe be a good excuse to bust one out.
Yeah, we could do our summer solstice, a Halloween party, a Christmas party, and then a
Seasonal
Spring
affective
sucks.
disorder
We can skip spring.
party.
we could do like a St.
sad
Patty's
part.
Day.
Ew.
Ew, what do you mean, ew?
I don't know. It just doesn't
like-
have the pizzazz that the other ones
Whatever
do.
Alec was about to say, you were going to say ew.
I was going to say like Irish coffees do a brunch.
Ooh.
That's kind of fun.
I would like an Irish coffee. I've been really craving a Bloody Mary. I want a Bloody Mary so bad.
I do not relate to that
You
craving
don't like them?
at all. No,
Mm.
it's like drinking tomato
I
soup.
know, it's so good.
Cold tomato soup. at that.
Delicious. Cold tomato soup with alcohol in it.
I'm okay. I'd rather have champagne.
Oh, a spicy
A
Bloody Mary
mimosa.
with tahini around the rim.
Okay, tahini I'm here for.
Yeah.
I will eat the tahini.
The tahini
straight up. Just
makes it.
sprinkle it into my mouth.
Bloody Marys seem like something you'd crave when you have a vitamin deficiency.
I definitely don't have that. I just, the thing about Bloody Marys is I don't day drink or drink in the morning pretty much ever. So I never get to have them.
That's the way to do it. Yeah.
And I just really am craving one. I want one so bad. Maybe I'll make one
I need a
another
tissue.
time. Okay.
Sorry, unrelated,
gotcha.
but I'm sending Alec off. Thank you so much.
Anyway.
Alrighty. So yeah, if you want to join us, then do it. You have a couple of weeks to prepare, and that is June 21st, also my brother's birthday. So happy early birthday to my brother.
We're going to make him spend his birthday on a Zoom call.
Yeah, that's the only way he's getting a
Mhm.
birthday call out of me. He has to pay for it. Thank you, Alec. Okay.
While you're blowing your nose, I want to say that I won't put you on YouTube blowing your nose, but we
Thank
are
you.
back on YouTube. I'm back uploading the videos.
Yay. Thank
So
you, Alec.
They will be available the Thursday of the release. They won't be available at midnight of the release, but
He's
Well,
only one
It's
man.
too much. Yeah.
because we record the night we release.
Yeah. Our procrastination is such that that's the only way.
We used to record on Friday nights.
The week before. And then we would spend all of Saturday editing it. Well, Alec would. Sometimes I
Yeah.
would sit there and watch.
You would sit there for a while. You sat there, like went with him to the studio. I
Yeah.
was never in it like that. And I
Yeah.
felt so bad, but not bad enough to actually sit with you guys.
I know. And gradually I stopped going. And now we don't even really edit it anymore. You get what you get.
And we record it the night of.
Yeah, it used to be that you guys would get, I think, a little bit more drunk and you didn't
lot more
quite
drunk.
remember everything you'd said. So you'd wanted to do a pass and just make sure you didn't say anything you would regret.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas now you don't do that.
No, we've matured a lot.
We're
since
almost
then.
30.
So we don't say stupid stuff anymore ever.
That's not true of me. I just don't drink as much.
That too. That was the main contributing factor.
After like 2 beers the next morning, I'm like, oh,
It's too much.
It's too much. There is a limit.
It is a testament to how talented you guys are, though. You've grown so much. Because we used to chop these things to high heaven, and now we don't even touch them.
Mm-hmm. I better have. I got a new job recently, like a part-time fun job.
When does it start?
I start this weekend. I'm an educator at the Memphis Zoo. So I'm going to be leading like after hours tours and stuff and overnight tours at the freaking zoo, which
So
is
it's going to be like later in the evenings?
Yes. Sometimes it'll be during the day because there's sometimes birthday parties, but I think it's mainly like if a company wants to take their employees on like a twilight tour after everything's closed and like watch the animal feedings and stuff, I get to lead those tours. So I'm going to get to see a lot of cool shit. I'm going to get to walk around the zoo in the middle of the night when no one else is there. I get to sleep at the zoo sometimes.
In the middle of the night.
Yeah.
You could just, why do you have to sleep there?
For overnight tours. Like the Girl Scouts and things like that will spend the night at the zoo. And I get to like be there. I don't have to do it a ton or at all. I don't have to spend the night if I don't want to, but I want to sometimes. That sounds cool.
Yeah, be there when they wake up.
Yeah. So part of that job, they emailed out like a memo and included like little blurbs of all the new hires that month, and part of my blurb was podcasting. I was like, ooh, that's embarrassing, but it is a skill. I will say
it is a skill.
I got this job by telling her I know how to talk. I can lead a tour. Give me a mic.
Do you
I
have
got
to
you.
study material?
I think I will, because I need to know about all the animals so I can tell people about them.
Well, you already know basically everything there is to know.
That's what I told her in
about
my interview. I
animals.
was like, I don't have a animal sciences degree, but
I could.
I could have an honorary one.
Will you give me an honorary one, please? I need another degree.
I desperately. That history degree was an interesting choice. The choice of an 18-year-old who didn't know anything.
Yeah, there needs to be some kind of change in. There needs to be a stopgap between high school and college.
Yeah.
But it's fine.
Yeah.
Everything worked out.
I became a really good writer, which is also not really that useful, but it's fine.
It is useful. We write every day.
I feel like college can be used as a time to learn how to learn.
Oh, totally. I'm just teasing.
Okay, I was going to say, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
we're not shitting on college.
I got
No.
a theater degree, so
Yeah.
your history one looks like rocket science compared to mine.
I'm just saying, if I wanted any kind of specialized job, I would have to go back to school.
You could get a specialized job in history.
What would
Could work
that
at the
look
history
like?
museum guide.
And make
tour.
0 cash money?
You
You'd
could
be happy.
Would I
do like a history podcast and talk about floods and stuff.
that too? I suppose I'm putting
that's a good idea.
the degree to work.
Let's do
yeah.
it.
I've never talked about floods before.
Well, I got 2.
Specifically the molasses flood.
Listen, I knew what I was doing. What I really should have done is just gone back into my old notes and copy and pasted that. Saved myself some effort.
And I'm sure I'll say the exact same thing.
I know.
It's like last week you did Annabelle, and a listener commented like, I could have sworn we already had a lesson on Annabelle, and part of me was like, maybe we did.
I think at this point, it's been long enough. We should just start from the beginning all over again.
I would
and never do notes again for 5 more years.
I like when you have to get creative, because batteries is a perfect example.
Batteries is crazy.
I know.
But I dig it. I feel like you don't find those in the first 250 episodes.
You don't. This is when you really get down to the bottom of the
deep.
barrel.
You start doing like line of sight lessons where you're like, what are curtains?
Yes, I had to replace my AA battery in my mouse that is connected, to my laptop. And I had to steal a battery from a coworker. And as I was getting out of their drawer, I was like, what are you? Like, you're about to solve all my problems, because I hate using a laptop without a mouse. But it really saved the day.
Yeah.
So it got me thinking about batteries.
You got to pay them the respect that they deserve.
They've earned over who knows how long.
I know.
Well, I do, but I'm not going to tell you yet.
The only encounters I have with batteries these days are the television remote, and it's a love-hate relationship.
How often are you having to replace your television remote batteries?
Rarely, but when it happens, it's extremely frustrating because you just, it's the end of the day. You want to watch TV.
Yeah.
And you can't.
Of course. Of course. My biggest frustration with the remote is losing it. And then I have to go unplug the TV to turn it off because I don't really care that much. I'm like, I'll just listen to a podcast if I can't do TV. But Tommy needs TV.
I need TV.
Yeah. You two are.
I'm
it's
addicted.
so weird how similar you two are and me and Alec are.
Yeah, it is weird. Even Hadrian, Alec's nephew, clocked it.
Really?
Yeah, I forget. One time we were all together and he, like a couple days later, he's like, it's so weird how you and Tommy are the same person and Alec and Hayley are the same person and you're like friends and couples.
It is a simulation.
Yeah, it's like looking in a mirror.
Oh, don't do that. Sorry, I have the baby in my lap.
Yes, which I don't think we've talked to. We got her. We have another cat. So now in this house, there are 5 cats. This is the newest one. Her name is Clove, formerly known as Miss Moneypenny, but she had a little name change recently.
Miss Moneypenny?
That's what Alec named her. It's from James Bond.
Because she has golden eyes, and there's a character in
Golden
GoldenEye named Miss Moneypenny.
Yeah, but my brother and Kelsey are adopting her, so she's going to go to Seattle when we go to Seattle in a month, but she's adorable. She's a calico cat with a stub tail, and we had to get her an abortion. She was pregnant.
Slay abortion.
Yeah.
Where have you been, little girl? You're not
know.
married.
She's not married, and she's like a kitten still.
I
She's only
know,
4 months
you're a
old.
baby. Somebody
Somebody
something
did her wrong.
How's her incision looking over there, Hayley?
It's looking good.
Okay.
She is not trying to scratch it or anything right now. She was just a minute ago, but
Yeah.
it's looking good.
But what that means is we have a lot of animals in this house, and somebody needs to adopt these 2 tuxedo cats right now.
Or we'll quit.
Expeditiously.
That was for you, Alec.
Please,
Just
if
kidding,
anyone
we won't
wants
quit.
tuxedo cats, let me know.
The most
They're
precious
very
baby
cute,
right here.
Precious
Oh
boy.
my goodness.
He's Captain is literally the
Rare.
nicest cat I've ever met.
So weird.
The other one could grow to love you, I think, if you
If you
gave him time.
put in the time and
Mhm.
effort.
It's funny, yeah. He's in the feralish one is in the closet right now. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 animals in this room.
Yeah.
And I don't know if any of them are really in the camera
No, I
shot.
have Pixie on my lap. Here, I'll hold her up for the.
No wonder
the
my
tube.
allergies
Here
are
she
going
is.
crazy. I'm like, quick, I need a tissue.
I don't know why you haven't started taking allergy medicine before you
I
come
take
into
2
this
every
house.
day already.
Well,
God, that's a
Sorry.
testament to how many animals we have.
yeah, it's honestly becoming embarrassing. But it's fine.
It's fine, but we're not going to stop talking about it. Let me love you. All right. Well, are we ready to learn
Yeah,
some things
I
about
am.
batteries?
I want to know what a Baghdad battery is.
I'm going to tell you. So imagine you're digging through some ancient ruins outside of modern day Baghdad. You've got the heat. You've got the dust. Your water bottle is empty. But alas, you find a clay pot. It's little. It's about 5 inches tall. And then you find a copper tube. And then you also find a corroded iron stuck inside of the copper tube that's inside of the clay pot.
The only thing I'd be able to think of is that my water bottle is empty. This is sending me
I know,
into a
I'm
panic
so
attack.
thirsty.
Yeah.
I don't know if your water bottle's actually empty or not, but
I had to
maybe it
take a
is.
praxis test recently,
Mhm.
and I opted to do it in person because I just felt like I would try harder if I was in the office.
Have you taken an at-home praxis
Yeah, I
test?
have.
So weird.
It's really weird, and I didn't want to go through that whole thing. So I went in person, and I asked her if I could have my water bottle, and she said no. So I had to sit through a 2.5-hour test with no water bottle, and you're not allowed to get up.
You're like, my pee's gonna be
I-
amber colored by the end of this.
Immediately, I panicked, and I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. 2.5 hours without water?
Oh my God.
What? There's a Taylor Swift lyric that says, all the monsters turned out to be just trees. And I say that to myself maybe 60 times a day every time I start having anxiety about something.
Wow,
and it helps me.
trees.
It helped me with the water bottle.
Good. Thank God. And you passed your
It's gonna
praxis.
be okay. Yeah, I did. I get to teach high school now. Yay.
Okay, so for this imagination, your water bottle is full. Okay, don't panic. Don't panic. But you find this clay pot with the copper and the iron, and you're like, is this a lost artifact or is it something else? This is called the Baghdad Battery, and a lot of its origins are unknown. As far as we know, it was discovered in 1936 by workers during an excavation for a rail line at a village called Kajut Rabu, which is near modern-day Baghdad. Archaeological records for this specific time and place weren't taken as seriously as maybe they should have, so there's not a lot of documentation to give us context about this curious clay pot. But it now lives at the National Museum of Iraq, and this quote-unquote battery, when we'll get to why it's called a battery, was found amongst 4 unglazed ceramic jars that looked very similar to it. One of the jars had some papyrus in it. The others had copper tubes, which were soldered on/into the pot. But one of them also, in addition to those copper tubes, had an iron rod inside of the copper tube. Okay. The clay jar is about 5 inches tall, so it's pretty small. Recreations of it make it look like it's like 13 inches long. It wasn't. It's pretty small. And this iron jar was inserted into the cylinder, isolated from the copper with asphalt, which is just kind of like a black tar. It's not like asphalt like we think of it now. And there were signs of acidic corrosion on the inside of the cylinder, which led to the hypothesis that this could be a battery.
Yeah. I mean, I don't see why not.
I don't see why not either.
You can make a battery out of a potato.
Or a lasagna.
Yeah.
Or like... Can you make one with your own body? You can conduct electricity. I don't know.
I don't know how batteries work, period. So I can't say either way.
Still kind of don't, but I'm going to try to explain it the best I can. There were other iron rods found at the site, but there was only this one jar that had all 3 components. And this one jar with the corrosion made them think it was a battery because if you add an acidic liquid such as vinegar or lemon juice, that can create an electrochemical reaction, which is what happens inside of batteries.
Cool.
Okay. Yeah. So we'll talk about how batteries work and when they were invented, modern batteries kind of as we know them, and then we'll jump back to the Baghdad battery. So Alessandro Volta is credited with the invention of the first real battery. He put it together to prove a point to another scientist, Luigi Galvani. In 1780, Galvani showed that the legs of frogs hanging on iron or brass hooks would twitch when they were touched with a probe of some other type of metal.
Okay.
He believed that it was caused by electricity from within the frog and its tissues, and he called it animal electricity. So Luigi's showing this to Volta, and initially Volta's like, oh, hell yeah, that's really cool. But then he thought about it and he was like, I think the electrical current is actually generated by the 2 different metals touching the frog. So you had the hooks on the frog holding it up, and then the probe, when it touched it, these currents were being transmitted through and not from the frog's tissues.
Right.
So its legs would like bounce up like that when it was probed. So Volta followed the scientific method like the good little scientist he is, and he put his hypothesis to the test. He experimented by stacking layers of silver and zinc interspersed with layers of cloth or paper soaked in salt water, and he found that the electrical current did flow through the wire applied at both ends of the pile. And this is Volt's battery.
Okay. It looks like a bird feeder.
Yeah, it does. That's a perfect description. So Volta's discovery was big news, and they named Volts after him. So here is
Great dialogue.
Okay.
Okay.
Good. Congratulations to him.
No, you can't.
Very
You can't
happy
say
for
anything
him.
now.
No, I'm distracted because I just looked at my phone while you were
God.
blowing your nose or sneezing, and Ghosty went missing last week.
Right.
And I was praying to the cat gods to bring him home. And I thought I need to give an offering to the cat gods in exchange for bringing him home. And they did bring him home. So I was like, well, I have to,
you
thank
offer
them.
them a different cat.
Well, what happened was there was like a lady that posted in one of the Memphis pet groups I'm in. And she's like, I am homeless. I am trying to get back on my feet, and I need someone to take my cat and foster my cat until I have a place of my own. And so I was like, I'll foster your cat until you find a place of your own. Like, this is a good way to give back to the cat community. And then
Yeah.
hopefully I'll get my cat back.
Yeah.
And I didn't get a response from her, and she just messaged me back. So I mean, I'm happy to take her cat and foster him. That's a good deed. But also now we have another cat since then. So that would be 6 cats in this house.
What's one more at this point?
You're so
I
right.
don't think it's that big
We
of a
probably
deal.
do need another litter box, though.
Yeah.
We have 2 like jumbo size litter boxes.
Oh, you have 2 jumbos now.
Yeah,
Okay, I
but-
thought you were still rocking
But a
the
third one would probably be ideal.
Yeah, you're supposed to have
If that's
one
the
per
case.
cat plus
Mhm.
one.
So she's literally wants you to foster her.
Well, I
animal?
don't know. I just saw that she messaged me. I haven't
Oh,
read
Open
it.
it.
Brother.
Read it
No,
now.
no,
Now that you've
I'll read
talked
it
about
after.
it.
Yeah, now
Hold
we got to
on.
know.
Yeah.
Okay. Wait, no, she just liked my comment on her post that said messaged you.
Okay.
Okay. I don't think
So that's probably
she
for the
hasn't
best then.
responded to my message yet.
Maybe she will.
Maybe she found someone else to do it and is just acknowledging.
Yeah.
me.
She's like, thanks
Guys.
for your help.
Yeah.
Sorry, the dogs are chasing the kitten.
Well, are we ready to learn about how batteries actually
Yeah.
work?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry for the interlude.
No worries. I started it with all of my sneezing. Okay, so key components. You have the anode and the cathode. Those are 2 different materials, typically metals that participate in this chemical reaction. And then you have the electrolytes, that substance, usually a liquid or a paste that allows ions to flow between the anode and the cathode. So, step 1 on how it works. You have the chemical reaction. Inside the battery, a chemical reaction occurs between the anode and the cathode, and this reaction causes one material, the anode, to release electrons and the other, the cathode, to attract them. When an external circuit like a wire connecting to the battery's terminals is created, the electrons have a path to flow. And powering the device, the flow of electrons through the circuit provides the electrical energy needed to power a device.
Cool.
And that's how they work.
I blacked
No
out.
further questions. I did too.
I'm not meant to understand these
I
things.
know.
That's not my path in
That's
this
not
life.
my kind of witchcraft.
No.
So
Offerings to cat gods is more
more
what I
my
do.
speed. I'm gonna let that one remain as mysterious as it possibly can,
Thank
and we're not
God.
gonna dive
Okay,
any
good.
deeper. Just know
I have no questions.
Just know that the Baghdad battery has the potential.
All the components necessary.
All the components. Yes.
But you know how like a cloud moving over the sky, it's like tearing away its electrons as it moves. There's tons of electrons shedding,
And that's what
Sure.
lightning
and
is.
that creates a negative charge, and so then it balances that by shooting the lightning down.
I did not know that.
So if you think about a little battery, they have a lot of electrons on the negative side, and they want to move over to the positive side. And when you connect it to your Roku remote, those electrons are able to move through, and that energy is what you use with the Roku.
It's magical. And then
It
I can
is
watch Real
magic.
Housewives on Love Island.
There's no science behind it. It is magic, and it's not real. It's fake.
Alchemy.
But you did a good job of describing it, I think.
I think you did a better job.
I don't know.
I listened more to Alec when he said it. I will say.
You
He
know the
wasn't just
clouds,
reading
Kat?
notes.
You know the cloud in the sky?
Yeah. Well, Alec
No.
sounded like he actually knew what he was saying.
He did. He did.
You sounded like
And
you
he
were
did
reading,
know.
and I just immediately zoned out.
Of course.
Sorry.
No, don't be sorry. I would do the same thing.
Yeah.
I was thinking I would be zoning out
Of
right now
course.
hearing it.
So
But I
boring.
couldn't do a lesson on Baghdad Battery and not include
Well, yeah.
a baseline.
I'm glad you told me about
And
it.
Alec is always there to mansplain, not offensively saying that. I'm
No,
just
no.
joking.
just
But
genuinely.
to explain,
Yeah.
these things that we have notes on, but like we don't actually know still.
Yeah, we have a person who fixates on things other than what we fixate on.
Yeah, and that
Mhm.
was a very like a your dad moment to explain it.
Yeah, my dad is an electrical engineer, has a PhD in it.
Yeah.
And so I, being the art kid, would always be like, Dad, I don't understand a battery. And he was good at describing
Yeah.
things.
We need Dr. Robert Ogg in here at all times while we record to explain things to us.
Oh my gosh, you guys would get so much smarter listening to this podcast.
It
if
would actually
Dr. Ogg
become
was
an
here.
educational podcast.
So do you want to learn about lasagna?
Yeah.
Okay, so Professor Greg Belander explains how lasagna can become a battery. So an acid, such as vinegar or tomato sauce, and electrically charged atoms like salt form an electrolyte. So
Sounds
you
like
have electrolytes in the lasagna.
Sounds like a
Mhm.
Bloody Mary.
It does.
It
Sounds
does.
so good. I
Okay,
want one
I
right
would
now.
eat a Bloody Mary if it came with cheese and noodles.
Sometimes they have cheese.
I'll try it again. We'll see. We'll
Yeah. You would like it. Actually, you probably wouldn't because you don't like ketchup or
see. Yeah,
pickles.
I don't.
yeah, you probably wouldn't like it.
Get me drunk enough and I'll
Okay.
try one. Aluminum foil is one electrode, and the pan, which is often steel or a different alloy of aluminum, is the second electrode. And this causes the aluminum foil to pit and dissolve, and you shouldn't ingest any of that because metal ions get into the food.
Right.
So the pitting looks like little like black dots, or it like goes completely through the aluminum foil. So that's how it becomes a battery.
oh, cool.
And you can avoid that by cooking in glass and not wrapping your dish in foil.
Sometimes you can't help it.
But yeah, and it's fine to do if you're going to cook in glass and then wrap it in foil. But
Yeah.
if you have steel and foil, you're going to make a battery in your
Yeah,
oven.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. We should do it for science, though. A little
Yeah.
experiment.
We should, and then we can eat the lasagna.
I haven't had lasagna in forever.
It's too hard to make. I don't make lasagna, but if someone else wants to make it for me, I will eat
ever
it.
made lasagna.
No, me either. It sounds like way too much work. Just make penne and put all the same things in it.
Katya's dad makes a real good veggie lasagna.
And that's one
Mhm.
thing too, since I went vegetarian, not anywhere that I've been to serves
No,
vegetarian
you can't get
lasagna.
vegetarian
You
lasagna
gotta
at a
make it.
restaurant.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And Tommy hates lasagna.
Really? How do you hate lasagna?
Right?
What is it?
I'm
What's
like,
there to
are-
hate?
Are we talking about the same lasagna here?
Does he like pasta?
He loves pasta.
Then why would he hate lasagna? Is just layered pasta.
I think he's just a hater. I think he just needs
Is
something
it the
to hate.
cheese, the ricotta?
He doesn't like ricotta.
That's
Maybe
why he
that is
doesn't like
it.
lasagna.
Well, that's dumb of
Yeah,
him.
and you can't make
Sorry,
lasagna without
Tommy.
ricotta. It's
Love
impossible.
you, but that's a
Well-
wrong opinion.
Your dad's version had no ricotta because his
Really?
wife doesn't like ricotta.
Did he
What?
use like cottage cheese or something instead?
I can't remember the recipe, but it was so good. It was when I was traveling through Idaho, and he knew I was a
Mhm.
vegetarian, so he made that special recipe. It was
Wow,
so good.
he needs to share the recipe.
Yeah. But I could have sworn you were just telling me you don't like lasagna.
I don't not like lasagna. I like lasagna. I just think that it's too much effort for
To
what it
make.
is. Like I would
Mhm.
rather make penne with red
Penne.
sauce and ricotta
Penne.
and spinach and all
Penne
the
all
things.
day.
Oh, yeah. She said she would always choose pasta over lasagna.
Yeah, just because it's easier to make and it
to
tastes the
eat
same.
or to make.
To eat, I think it's a tie. Like it's pasta.
I could go either way. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, let's talk about to eat. How are you ranking them? Because in my mind we have pasta, lasagna, tortellini, ravioli. Penne.
Number one to me is angel hair pasta. I love
I
angel
do love
hair.
angel hair pasta too.
Mhm.
I think number one for me is tortellini.
I like tortellini. I like all pasta.
You can't go wrong.
There's no pasta I don't like.
We always have like a brick of Parmesan at the house.
Yeah. The only, you know what? I take that back. The only pasta I don't like is whole wheat spaghetti. That's what we always had growing up because it's healthier and it's just not as good as
It isn't. Whole
white
wheat
spaghetti.
is not always the best option.
Yeah.
Maybe for health, but
I think I'm going penne
That's your
penne
favorite.
is a good one.
because you can really like use your fork to get the right
Mhm.
balance of veggies with the penne and the right sauce
I
in the
agree.
tubes.
Sometimes I feel like penne is a little too rubbery though.
I like the rubbery. I think tortellini sometimes can feel a little too heavy for me.
Yeah.
It is heavy.
Yeah.
But delicious.
So good. Yeah. You can have like 10 pieces of tortellini
Yeah.
and be like, well, not me, but
And
some can and be like, I'm done.
And I
need,
would
like,
always
20.
choose tortellini over ravioli. When you get ravioli at a restaurant, there's never enough ravioli.
they give you like 3 pieces.
Right.
Yeah, it's
And
bullshit.
Yeah.
I know. We got ravioli at Costco this weekend, and it's been amazing to be in charge of my amount of ravioli that I
Mhm.
get. We got mushroom ravioli, we got spinach and cheese ravioli, and then Tommy got beef ravioli.
Okay. The best ravioli is like squash or pumpkin ravioli.
I have never had it. I've never even heard of it.
Are you serious? Like summer squash or pumpkin
Sounds
ravioli and
really
like
good.
sage and browned butter and Parmesan?
Oh, no.
There's literally no better food
I'm
on earth.
scared.
I can't believe
We
you've
need
never
to
had that.
make
We have
it.
to have some.
I love how she's like, ravioli is like at the bottom of the list. It's the best thing on planet Earth.
It's only at the bottom of the list because they don't give you enough of it. I'll never order ravioli at a restaurant unless it's pumpkin ravioli
So
because they don't give you enough.
is your summer squash pumpkin ravioli coming up on top of angel hair?
No, I still think an angel hair in like a vodka sauce with capers and Kalamata olives and red pepper flakes is like peak pasta to me.
Wow,
So
capers.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, capers is wild. I think for penne, my favorite pasta from the restaurant that I worked at when it was like my first job, it was like a creamy sauce with like roasted peppers. They had chicken in it, but you just do like spinach or something like that. So fucking good.
Yeah. This is I prepped, speaking of this, I prepped a tortellini bake so I could throw it in the oven after we record.
Oh my
and
God, you're
it's
going
calling
to
my
be
name.
ready to roll.
I know.
Listeners, write in the comments where your pasta rankings are.
What's your favorite
Yeah, I need
pasta?
to know. No judging here. Just good to know type of thing.
And we're kind of doing less about noodles and more about the dishes, right?
Yeah. One time, Trader Joe's has this lemon flavored pasta, and it's like the spiral pasta, and it's so
Rotini.
good, something like that. And one time I made it with like a lemon cream sauce and artichoke hearts and
Wow.
spinach, and it was the best thing I've ever had in my life. It was so good.
I never would have thought as a kid that I would so enjoy lemon in like dinner
Yeah.
foods.
I put lemon juice in literally everything. I have a giant like 12-ounce thing of lemon juice in our fridge, and I add it
Buy
to
one every week.
everything I eat and drink. Yeah,
I told her it's going to rot her teeth.
I know, but I
Well,
brush my teeth a lot. I
You
think
can
it'll
get
be fine.
veneers.
That's true.
Last thing about pasta, you saying the twirly pasta makes me think of the Seinfeld episode. Is I think the funniest episode is Kramer makes a fusilli Jerry, and fusilli is the corkscrew pasta, and so it's like this little figure he makes of Jerry made of fusilli, and he calls it fusilli Jerry, and it like falls on the floor, and then George's dad stumbles and falls, and the fusilli Jerry goes up his ass, and he's like has to tell the doctor that it was a corkscrew pasta.
God.
Sorry, it cracks me up every time. Clearly, Kat was not tickled by that.
I'm smiling. Sorry, I'm not dying laughing over
Sorry.
a regurgitated Seinfeld bit.
Fusilli Jerry gets me every time.
Fusilli Jerry's funny.
Yeah. All right. Let's finish up this thing about
Okay.
batteries.
Yeah, it's not Baghdad pasta.
Okay, so the likely creators of this jar lived under the Parthian Empire, which was from 247 BC to 224 AD. It was a major powerhouse in the region, but they were known for warfare, horse archery, and trade, and not so much
Horse archery.
Doesn't that sound badass?
Main export.
Not so much, though, for scientific or technological innovation. And the battery's estimated time frame is somewhere between 200 BCE to 200 CE. So there are a couple of theories about, like, if this is a battery, what would it power? And the biggest one is that it was used for electroplating. This is where, and it's still used today, ancient artisans can use it to apply thin layers of metals like gold onto other metals like silver.
Okay.
But the problem with this theory is that no electroplated items have been found from that
Yeah.
time period. So maybe not. There's also the religious or mystical use theory. People think maybe a small electric shock might be seen as divine or magical in rituals.
Yeah.
So possibly used in temples to wow people or perform miracles or just in general rituals. Come and get a shocky.
I could see that.
I could use that. That's what I should. I should keep a battery by my bed, and every time when I wake up and I'm so tired, but I have to get up, just
Shock
lick
yourself.
the battery. Just lick the battery.
Oh, okay.
I think it's a good idea.
I think you should keep a taser and tase yourself.
Oh my God, my mom has bought me so many tasers throughout my life.
Do you have any?
I don't know. The last time she bought me one was when I moved to Memphis. That must have been like the third one she bought me. And it was pink. I think we brought it out at our first house that we had here.
Probably. To me, a taser, for me personally, would be so useless because to use a taser, you have to be close enough to somebody to tase them.
Yeah.
They would just grab it out of my hand and tase me.
I will just give you my bag or I'll act crazy.
Yeah.
But I'm just going to submit. Tasing is not going to be necessary.
Pepper spray seems to make more sense.
I have
to me.
pepper
You could do that
spray.
from afar.
Yeah, I'm a pepper spray girl.
Yeah.
There's also the medical use theory. Maybe it was used for shock therapy. There's no written or physical evidence of this. And maybe it's just a coincidence. It's probably not a battery at all.
I mean, it could have been
and
someone just like fucking around,
It could have
playing
been
around with
and
it.
all of these different components could have been for different things. Like the rod could be a scroll holder. The copper tube could have been used to store something fragile or just be literally, I don't know, something else.
Toilet paper wheel.
Yeah. Oh my God, what are they called? A fleshlight, perhaps.
That too.
Just fill it.
I knew it was coming.
You're like holding yourself back from making
Step
the
right
joke
up, ladies and
yourself.
gentlemen. Get your shock.
Just the tip.
Feel the spark of God.
So the first person who suggested it was a battery was Wilhelm Koenig, an Austrian archaeologist and director of the Baghdad Museum in the 1930s. He proposed this theory in 1938. He published all his ideas in a book. He believes it was used for electroplating, citing similar ancient techniques found in Egypt and elsewhere, but we don't really know. And I don't think we'll ever really know. We do know, though, in 1978, engineer Willard Gray created a working replica of the Baghdad battery. He filled his with grape juice and connected multiple replicas in a series. And it turns out it could produce an electric current just under 1 volt per cell, which is enough to make the needle twitch on the voltmeter.
They were making iridium sprinklers for Stardew Valley.
Oh my God, they
Battery.
were. Is iridium a real thing?
Yeah.
Okay. I always wondered. I just never thought to actually look it up.
Yeah. It's like radioactive.
Radio.
Man, I was going to go for it too, Hayley. We're synced up
We
today.
are the same people. It's okay. When you and Tommy die, rest in peace, hopefully never, Kat and I can just move in and have a million
Yeah.
animals and balance each other. It'll be like basically nothing changed.
Yeah. That's so true. It would be.
Yeah, it'll be good.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it. Later museum experiments like this has been featured on Mythbusters and the Discovery Channel and, of course, Ancient Aliens. They have confirmed it can produce electricity, but not enough to really power much at all.
Okay.
So there's not much else I have on it, but I did look up a few things that you can do with 1 volt of electricity. The first one would be to barely light a very low voltage LED.
Okay.
And that has to be done under lab conditions. It might blink. It might just like... You could also power a tiny calculator for just like 1 moment, literally 1 moment in time. You could stimulate frog legs like Luigi did in the 1700s. You can cause mild electrolysis in water. You can split hydrogen and oxygen very slowly, very weakly. You can also make your tongue tingle. If you touch both terminals with your tongue, it can give you a mild zap.
Mystical.
How do we explain it?
Spiritual experience.
We don't know.
What would you do with a 1 volt of electricity?
What would I do? I would wake myself up in the morning. I'm going to do the tongue theory.
Okay.
I'm
Just,
going
You go ahead.
1 volt fleshlight theory. got a big laugh from Hayley and an eye roll from Kat.
My boyfriend can only get off with this ancient
Yeah, you're embarrassing me.
technology.
Making me look really bad.
Can only get off with
He's
the ancient
addicted.
1 volt zap. Like copper pipes and tar bubbling.
You're like on vacation, you forgot your ancient battery and you use a real one and it kills you.
Yeah. It's not the vibrator in the suitcase
Oh
going
my
off. It's
God.
the embarrassing thing. It's his copper and metal pipes.
Oh my God.
The only thing that can get him off.
All right. Are you ready to hear about something you already have heard about?
Yes, I am.
We're going to begin on January 15th of 1919, Capricorn season, when a giant molasses storage...
Molasses.
Listen. Molasses storage tank at Purity Distilling Company in Boston's North End burst without warning.
Right, I remember.
The tank contained 2.3 million gallons of molasses.
How many tons is that?
13,000.
Thank you.
The burst resulted in a 25-foot high wave of molasses, which rushed through the streets at 35 miles per hour, destroying
That's
everything in its
impossible. I
path.
feel like they're embellishing quite a bit.
No.
Molasses traveling at 35 miles per hour.
They're not embellishing.
25
because,
feet tall.
Yeah, because they did like a modern day fact check of all of this, and it checks out.
That's nuts.
Mm-hmm. The molasses was there because it was used to make ethanol, which is a key ingredient of alcohol and munitions produced during World War I. The facility used the tank to offload molasses from ships and then pipe it to a distillery in Cambridge. The tank was 50 feet tall and 90 feet wide.
What?
Big.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It was also super poorly built.
Well, yeah.
You can't have everything. From the day before to the day of the disaster, the temperature in Boston jumped from 2 degrees Fahrenheit to over 40 degrees Fahrenheit in just 24 hours. This probably caused a thermal expansion and some pressure buildup in the tank. Also, a new load of molasses was added into the tank that same day on top of the cold molasses, which was normal practice because they would warm the molasses in order to pump it through the pipe more freely.
Yeah.
But, that wasn't helping things
Absolutely
with temperature
not.
changes.
The cold molasses is like no new friends.
No new friends. Also, outside, the weather is going up and down. It's a lot going on.
Frightful.
In addition to that, the tank was not regularly cleaned or emptied, so fermenting molasses was producing gas,
Ew.
causing pressure to build. Around 12:30 p.m., the tank exploded with a sound like machine gun fire as the rivets tore loose. Witnesses reported they felt the ground shake, then heard a loud rumble like a passing train. The resulting 25-foot wave of molasses tore through buildings, toppled a streetcar, crushed a firehouse, and swept people and horses through the streets.
Everything was so sticky.
And you were wondering a second ago why the molasses could travel 35 miles per hour. Well, molasses is 40% thicker than water. So all that molasses exploding was a lot of force.
It had kinetic energy.
It had a lot of potential energy, which was then
Potential
transformed into that kinetic energy.
It's like a giant
We know
battery,
about
if you will.
batteries.
Yeah.
Yes. Electrode.
The Great Molasses Battery.
Victims,
of Alec's daydream.
Victims were trapped in the viscous flood, and the cold weather quickly thickened the syrup, making it rescue even more difficult and trapping the victims in the substance because you have this warm molasses, it hits you, and then it gets cold and you're stuck in it.
Oh, no.
Can't move. A 1983 Smithsonian article recounts a child's experience being caught in the blast. Quote, Anthony DiStasio was walking homeward with his sisters from the Michelangelo school, was picked up by a wave and carried, tumbled on its crest, almost as though he was surfing. Then he grounded, and the molasses rolled him like a pebble as the wave diminished. He heard his mother call his name and couldn't answer. His throat was so clogged with the smothering glue.
Oh, my God.
He passed out, then opened his eyes to find 3 of his 4 sisters staring at him.
And they're totally fine,
Yeah.
not covered in molasses.
Others were not so lucky as to survive the wave. Reports say horses died like flies on sticky paper,
Ooh.
and human victims were often unrecognizable under the thick layers of molasses.
Was it so hot that it burned any of them?
No, it didn't burn anybody, but it definitely like asphyxiated
Still
and crushed them.
Effed them up.
Yeah, killed them. At least I don't think it burned anybody. Air pressure from the explosion reportedly hurled people, trucks, and debris like a bomb blast. A truck was thrown into the Boston Harbor. First responders.
The 1900s tea party.
Yeah. Do you ever put molasses in tea? Maybe.
I don't think so,
don't
but
know.
it's just the Boston Harbor.
What is molasses? Is it just like molten sugar? Like a
I
wet
thought it was
sugar?
something to do with sugar.
Yeah, it is
but-
sugar.
Yeah, I don't know. And
want
is
it.
it not sweet though?
It is sweet.
It is sweet.
But I think it has like a bad like barley fucked up taste.
Okay.
Alec, do you know what it is?
A byproduct of sugar cane and sugar beet refining.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's also bitter.
It seems so old fashioned to me.
It is. Molasses cookies slap though.
I don't know if I've had them or not.
You probably
Seems like I
have,
haven't.
yeah.
Yet I have to see them.
They're good.
Okay, so when you boil the sugar cane and sugar beets, it forms sugar crystals. And when you take those out, the leftover black liquid is molasses.
Okay.
All right.
Similar to when you make butter, the leftover water is buttermilk.
Mhm. So it's like a sugar byproduct and they're making alcohol out of it. That makes sense. First responders included 116 cadets from the USS Nantucket, Boston Police, Red Cross, Army, and Navy. Rescuers waded through knee-deep molasses, diving in to save the injured. A makeshift hospital was set up nearby, and bodies were recovered for months.
Months?
Yeah.
It took months
It's
to like
a huge
clean
mess.
it up.
It's like feet deep molten sugar.
How do you even clean it up? Bring in
It
the
was
hogs.
difficult. They should have brought in the hogs. That would have been smart. Molasses was stuck to everything in Boston. Subway seats, telephones, and homes. Quote, everything in Boston was sticky.
Boston.
In all, 21 people and many animals died, and over 150 people were injured. 119 residents filed a class action lawsuit against the United States Industrial Alcohol, which is the USIA.
Are they the ones who owned the plant?
Yeah.
Okay, I was like, wait.
In response, the USIA claimed that anarchists sabotaged the tank.
Right.
And it's not their fault.
For what? What was the point?
Because they're anarchists.
They just want to cause anarchy.
They like anarchy.
For no reason.
However, a subsequent investigation revealed structural failure and poor maintenance was to blame.
Yeah, if you have molasses fermenting in that thing.
I mean, to be fair, it was going to be fermented eventually. Anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, they weren't taking good care of
gross.
it. The tank had been leaking from day one. It groaned under pressure and was never properly tested. It was also painted brown to hide leaks. They got the old landlord special.
I'm going to paint my toilet brown.
Yeah.
So I never have to clean it.
Literally. Designer Arthur Gell had no engineering experience, and yet he created this tank. The steel was too thin, brittle, and lacked manganese. So I guess the steel was just really shitty and the rivets were faulty.
They repurposed the steel from the Titanic.
Yeah, pretty much. And you might be like, why did they build it so shittily? Well, it's possible that the USIA was rushing to produce as much ethanol as possible because the day after the flood, the 18th Amendment, which is prohibition, was ratified. So they probably knew that was coming and were just like, fuck it, let's just crank it out as fast as we can. Quality be damned. And it really backfired.
Get it while we can. Wow.
The case became one of the first successful class action lawsuits in Massachusetts. The USIA had to pay $628,000 in damages.
Wow.
And that's about $11.4 million today. Families received $7,000 each, which now that I'm doing which is $127,000 today. I was thinking of the other lesson, which happened in the 80s when the money was like about double in today's money. And I'm looking at this and I was like,
wait a minute.
11.4 million is way more than double 628,000. It's a different part of the lesson. Anyway, cleaning up, like you said, was extremely difficult.
Like, where do you even start? I would get so overwhelmed. I'd be like, just shove it under your bed and call it a day.
Yeah, they were trying to like dissolve it by spraying salt water on it and just kind of cleaning it up. And then they were also dumping sand on it, letting the sand kind of soak up the molasses and then removing the sand. But it was
get the kitty litter out.
Yeah, the kitty litter. It was a very long process. Luckily, I guess it was winter, so at least it wasn't like hot
seeping
outside
everywhere
and
too.
Yeah, so it was like kind of congealed, but also, yeah,
ew,
it's not good. The harbor ran brown until summer.
That sounds like an innuendo.
Yeah, sounds like an omen. Cleanup took weeks in Boston and then even longer in the surrounding suburbs. Molasses was tracked throughout this entire city because everyone's covered in molasses.
Forever.
Your footprints are covered in molasses. It was on subway platforms and payphones. Like,
you can't escape it. I
covered everything. You're always
I hope
sticky.
it didn't smell too bad. That would be.
It smelled
really
like
tough.
shit. Are you kidding? Molasses smells disgusting.
When was this?
1919.
I don't know if they had payphones.
This says they did.
Oh, really?
When were payphones?
When were payphones
invented?
Invented in
1889.
Hey,
Yeah, don't doubt me. I know what I read on Wikipedia. The molasses tank was never rebuilt, and the site of the explosion became a yard for the Boston Elevated Railway, which is now Langone Park, a public recreation area. A plaque at Pueblo Park marks the flood site. And in 2019, which was the 100th anniversary, they commemorated the event by reading the names of the 21 victims.
Wow. 21 people
Yeah.
died.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people.
It is a lot. And the city couldn't have been that big at that point. Like probably almost everyone in the city knew someone who died.
How
maybe.
far did it spread from the explosion site?
I'm not sure. That is a good question that I don't have the answer to. But I know it affected the whole city.
Yeah.
Everything was sticky.
How could it not? There's something in the air.
Moving on to our next non-water flood, the Wisconsin butter flood, or the Great Cheese Fire of 1991.
Butter and cheese.
Butter and cheese, the two best foods.
God.
This flood occurred on May 3rd, 1991 in, of course, Madison, Wisconsin. Cheese capital of the United States.
Is it really?
It's the dairy capital. I know that.
Oh my gosh, I love Madison. I mean, I've only been there a total of like 24 hours, but that 24 hours was
good.
amazing.
Did you eat cheese?
Yeah, we ate cheese, we had donuts, we had beer. It seems to be a very gay city.
Yeah,
it
all
was
the best foods.
Yeah, all these lakes and stuff.
All the best landscapes.
Great. Yeah.
I don't think I've ever been to Madison. I'd probably know if I did. Yeah. The Midwest is a blind spot for me. The only time I've ever spent in the Midwest is with you in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
And then I went to Chicago briefly twice. And that's about it.
We need to get you some Kentucky time. Maybe some Indiana
Why?
time.
Indiana and Kentucky, I feel like, are the worst ones. I'd rather go.
We have to go back to
like
Cincinnati.
Michigan.
Oh my God, Michigan. We could go
Yeah.
to Traverse City.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll talk.
Okay.
Prior to the disaster, the United States saw a big jump in dairy production due to recent federal subsidies. In order to stabilize the prices of dairy, the government bought up a bunch of cheese and butter, and despite stagnant demand from the public, farmers increased milk and butter fat production accordingly, about 30% between 1974 and 1990. And I think The Dollop has an episode on this, on like the cheese stores of the U.S. government.
Familiar.
It sounded really familiar
you may
to me
have
too.
mentioned this in your other molasses.
It's possible. It's possible. By 1990, 330 million pounds of surplus dairy sat unused in warehouses nationwide.
God. And that's how we got milk.
Yeah, pretty much. That could, yeah, maybe.
I mean, I don't know that to be true, but I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah, I think to this day we still have like government cheese in storage.
It doesn't go
bad.
bad. Cheese literally doesn't go.
That's better with age.
Just scrape the mold off.
It's called blue cheese.
Fine.
Ever heard of it? A fire started in one of these warehouses at a 500,000 square foot facility called Central Warehouse and Storage Company. There, they stored 10 to 15 million pounds of government butter, along with millions of hot dogs, about 4 million pounds of Oscar Mayer sausages.
God, no.
And ocean spray cranberries.
What the fuck?
It's quite an assortment.
I would not be storing these items together. They just don't belong. There's a reason why there are different compartments in your fridge. You've got the crisper drawer. You have the little butter fold-out thing in the door. They don't go together.
I feel like you can make a good dish of butter, cranberries, and hot dogs.
I don't know
I think
about
it's
the
possible.
hot dogs. I'm not saying the dish. I'm saying storage.
Storage wise,
Yeah, I'm
I
not
think
into it.
all of it has to be refrigerated, and you have that. There's also multiple warehouses. They're probably not.
I'm
each
just
in
being
the same
nitpicky.
warehouse.
Nobody come for me.
The fire began inside the warehouse and spread rapidly as sprinklers failed after activation. So they never stood a chance. Flames grew to be 300 feet high. And concern grew as people realized the building contained a lot of toxic chemicals. The toxic chemicals didn't prove to be the biggest problem, however.
What started the fire?
A battery. We'll get to it.
What's a battery?
The butter was the biggest problem.
It's gonna melt.
All at once.
Whoa.
5 hours in, a structural collapse allowed the fire to reach thousands of pounds of butter. Millions of pounds, actually. The result was a tsunami of melted
butter.
molten butter.
Ooh, that's hot.
Firefighters on the scene recall, quote, once the walls caved in, it came out like a river.
Yeah.
Melted butter and cheese pulled up to 5 feet in some places, and firefighters had to wade through the mess, which was hindering their equipment and making everything slippery. The stench was described as, quote, horrible.
I don't know how.
The butter probably smelled good, but burning sausages, I don't know about that. And 3,000 nearby residents had to be evacuated for toxic smoke.
You would think that it's an April Fool's joke.
Yeah, it does sound like an April Fool's joke.
Like the butter factory's on fire. You have to evacuate.
I would be scooping up buckets of butter.
Me too.
Butter's expensive.
Like, we'll churn this later. Get as much as you can.
Uh-huh. The melted butter and cheese was a threat to nearby lakes and streams, as butter is considered an oil spill by the EPA and can harm wildlife. It can also help wildlife because they get a delicious meal of butter.
Yeah.
Tired of eating
They'd be
algae and
so
mosquitoes,
grateful.
dip them in butter.
Let me show you the good life.
Emergency dams and levees were constructed, and the mess was diverted into storm drains. In all, the fire took 20 hours to contain and 8 days to fully extinguish.
My goodness.
Just think of all that butter. That's fuel for the fire.
If I could get free butter for the rest of my life, I would be unstoppable.
Would be a good deal. I hate buying butter. I hate it. It's not fun.
Me too. And it's
necessary.
Pretty expensive. It is
It is
necessary.
expensive.
We always go for the 2-pack, salted, obviously.
I go for the 6 or the 8-pack. Gotta stock up.
Where?
At Kroger.
At Kroger?
Yeah.
6 or 8 per pack?
Yeah, of butter
So
sticks.
you buy it's the 4-pack that is 1 pack, 4 sticks and 1 pack. And we get
and the 2.
Mhm.
Okay. We're talking
Yeah.
about the same thing
We're on
here.
the same
Yeah.
page. Yeah, you have to.
Yeah.
Because one thing I can't do is be caught without butter.
No. And I
That
will not use margarine.
pisses me off so much. It hasn't
Agree.
happened in a long time because I
Yeah.
take preventative measures.
Same. Every time I'm at the grocery store, I buy butter just in case. What if there's a shortage? Luckily, there were no human fatalities, but there were lots of monetary fatalities. There was 7.5 million in property damage, and just like a little more than double all these numbers if you want to know what that was today. 70 million in inventory loss, which I guess isn't that big of a loss because it's government surplus. It's just sitting there.
Yeah.
But still, it's food. 1 million in firefighting costs and $550,000 in cleanup bills, which was mostly paid by the warehouse and USDA grants.
Goodness gracious. Yeah, you're going to need a lot of Dawn to get these butter stains out.
Yeah, I hope they were washing all the
fucked.
ducklings.
Me too. They were. Don't
Good.
worry. They were.
Thank God. And to end this lesson, we're bringing it full circle because the cause of the fire was a battery-powered forklift that I guess just went AWOL. It
went
decided to
crazy.
catch on fire.
Somebody tried to stick its dick in the battery.
Stick it, stick. I like that they're in it. Yes.
Yeah, we don't know how they identify. It could have been an animal.
Yeah. And this dick caused the largest commercial fire in Wisconsin's history.
Oh, wow. I definitely didn't know about the butter flood.
Me
I'm
either.
glad to revisit
that
the
one is
molasses flood.
new and exciting.
I said FUD. Flood. Flood.
I'm serious. I'm going to start just recycling old lessons and see if
who
you notice.
notices.
Yeah. No one's going to notice.
I
We've done
actually
so many
really
episodes.
like that idea. I know. The only lesson that I can remember off the top of my head is always Carl Tanzler, that guy who was obsessed with that lady who died from tuberculosis.
That one is fucked up.
Yeah. It's always
Mm-hmm.
top of mind. And I'm like, well, what are the lessons you've done? If we're ever we've been interviewed a couple of times around Memphis for stuff.
And they
I'm
asked
I
us-
don't want to say Carl Tanzler.
Yeah, they ask us our favorite lessons, and it's just the most recent 3, the only ones we can remember.
You're like, okay, well, Kat's done molasses flood a couple of times.
That's got to be out there. One of those lessons has got to be recent.
Yeah. Well, great job, Kat.
Thank you. You too.
I like the 2-for-1. Thank you. And thank you all so much for listening. We have an absolute blast producing the podcast. We hope you feel the same way about listening to it. If you want some extra content and to join us for quarterly-ish cocktail hours, you can head over to Patreon to help support the show and get your extra stuff too. So patreon.com/nightclassy, but we appreciate you just for being here. So that's all we've got. We'll see you next week. 3, 2, 1.
Class dismissed.
Good
Good job,
Good
guys.
job, everyone.